Welcome to Mangastorian, where I sit down and give you my reactions to reading different parts of manga in general. I'm currently reading through One Piece. I don't know anything about One Piece, and I am reading the manga, not watching the anime. Today we're going to be covering chapters 389 to 431, the entire rest of the Enies Lobby arc. When we last left off, I just discovered what Gear 2 was, and after reading the rest of this, I just need to say, what's Gear 3? And after reading the rest of this, I just have to say, what's Gear 3? Now that one I have a better understanding of how it actually functions because he just inflates different parts of his body, which is very cool. But I do gotta say something. This is the saddest I have been reading One Piece, like across the board. Okay, the origin of Nico Robin discovering what happened to her mother, her speech and her declaration that happens in 398, all of that was just heartwarming, but it gets worse for me. So let me tell you a little story of where I read this, because I was bawling like a baby in public. Okay, it was embarrassing, it really was. Now I made a mistake. I am very easily able to hide my emotions, but my emotions are very easily triggered based on music. If I'm listening to heavy metal, I can get very angry like that. If I'm listening to, say, a fight sequence, I can get hyped up like that. And if I'm listening to sad music, when that sequence goes through, I can get sad like that. So, picking up where we left off, the entire crew is standing up there and declaring to Robin that they are here to save her. We've got the characters Nami, Sanji, Zoro, Luffy, Chopper, and Sniper King. Usopp is still off planet somewhere. He went to the moon. I don't know. But he's not there. We got the Sniper King. And so they decide to move into telling the story of Robin and how Robin got to where she is. Now, one thing that will always get to me in a hurry is children or animals being mistreated. If you guys remember all the way back to the beginning of this, the dog, I still remember the dog that was protecting the pet store. And that was sad for me. So we discover that Robin, as a child, had her powers. The entire island called her a monster. The kids treated her poorly. She had almost like a Cinderella type situation where she was being raised by the step parents instead of by her actual mom. They were treating her just to do the chores so that they could treat their other child better. That kind of a situation. Now that already made me sad, but I wasn't too sad yet. But that's when the music really picked up and started to get very sad. She ends up meeting Saul D something, which for the record, his name is D, which throws out my theory. When I discovered that it was Gold D Roger and it was Monkey D Luffy, I was assuming Gold Roger was Luffy's dad or something along those lines. But the giant can't be in the family, so where the hell did D come from? I need to know what the D is. Someone show me the D. We go back, we discover how sad her life really is. Olvia, her mom, discovered the big secret, or wanted to discover the big secret, and left Robin there as a 2-year-old. As a 2-year-old, she's crying out for her mommy and stuff like that. So I'm already getting sad. The tears are starting to well up. I'm like, okay, all right. I'm on a plane. If you don't know, I was on a plane to San Diego Comic-Con. All right, I got this dude to my left and this very flamboyant man sitting very weirdly talking to what I assume is his girlfriend. So we start going and the tears are starting to well up. I'm getting a little sad. It's not dawning on me that I have this incredibly sad music going and I'm reading this incredibly sad sequence. Olvia shows back up. The sequence gets even sadder because Robin eventually meets up with her mom but doesn't realize right away that it's her mom. And Olvia doesn't want to tell Robin because she feels that she hasn't been a mother and doesn't deserve to get to come back. This town then gets blasted by the Buster Call. We get to see how bad it really was. And we also get the reveal of the Void 100 years or Void Century, whatever they're calling it. That there was basically the world government equivalent of that time period took over the world and didn't want people to know what they did, so they wiped out all history from that year. It's displayed by the archaeologist, who Robin is, because she just wanted to be a part, she just wanted to be accepted somewhere. So an 8-year-old got her doctorate just so that she could join them, only to discover she can't join them. The Buster Call's coming in, we find out the history of the world, or at least what we were going to discover at this point. Robin's running by her mom, and it begins to click that that's her mom, and she starts calling out to her. And I'm sitting here, I'm on this plane, and I'm just like, oh no, I'm about to start bawling on this plane. Okay, all right, calm down. This isn't that sad. The music is doing like the softest, like saddest songs ever in my earbuds at the moment. I'm like, tears are starting to come down. I'm trying to, okay, all right, keep reading. Okay. So I'm reading through it. I'm like, all right. So Robin's really sad. She sees her mom. She starts calling out. She's like, you forgot me. I'm here. This is what I look like now. And I'm just like, oh God, this is getting so much worse. It's just getting sadder and sadder. And then this 8-year-old Robin's calling out to her mom, and her mom's still ignoring her because she doesn't want to make Robin a criminal. So she can't. It's like when they were leaving Vivi, and they're like, we need to let Vivi know, but we can't let them. Like that was a different thing, but that was also sad. And it's the same thing with Robin. She's trying to get her mom to recognize her, to display. And I'm like, okay. All right, don't cry in the middle of a freaking plane. You're sitting towards the front of the plane. Everyone's gonna walk by. They're gonna see this grown man blubbering over manga sitting on this plane. Okay, I'm sitting there. I'm trying to like get the sniffles back. I'm like, okay, all right, keep reading. You gotta know what's gonna happen. You can't do the logical thing like stop the music or stop reading right now. Let's just keep going. We gotta push through this. Because real men can cry on planes. It's okay. I keep going. And then I'm reading it, and finally her mom acknowledges her, and she acknowledges her mom, and she's holding her hand, and that's all either one of them wanted was to hold each other's hands. At this point, the waterworks are going, guys. Like, I'm on this plane. This grown man just sitting here crying over manga. Just like, why don't you stop the music? Why don't you stop reading? Either one of these would stop what's going on right now. I keep going. I'm like, okay, that's gotta be the saddest it can be. And I'm like, so we're just gonna keep reading. And I'm pushing through this origin story. And then Olivia has to go back and get all the books into the pit so they can survive. And they start telling her she has to go. And Saul who I can't remember his last name, but Saul gets her and he's carrying her out. And they're going on about how, Robin, you've got to get off the island. You got to get away. And she's like, there's no one out there. I just want to be here with anybody. And Saul gets shot in the leg. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh, what is happening? It's getting worse. What is going on? And I'm just getting, tears are welling up. I'm starting to cry. I'm constantly doing this, trying to make it not look like I'm crying. I'm like, okay, all right. Maybe someone will think that, like, someone you know died, or maybe you just broke up with your girlfriend. Maybe you can make it not look like you're crying over manga, but you're just staring at the manga. Anyway, I keep reading, and then it gets sadder because Robin isn't welcome anywhere. She gets off the island, no one's left, she has no friends, and the last thing, I think it was Saul, tells her, you will find friends to protect her. And I'm like, okay, well, that's Luffy and the crew and whatever, but no! So 398 rolls around, and 398, we get to the scene where they're all standing there, and I've got it pulled up here so I can remember the exact lines, because you guys know, I know you want me to say exact lines. But we go through, we see her aging, she's constantly getting kicked out, everybody wants the bounty on her head, it's not working out well for her, and then we get back to the present, where she's standing up with CP9, and the crew is standing on the edge of the wall, and there's no way to get across, and she says, the attack, the Buster call, is now aimed directly at the friends whom I found at long last. And I'm like, oh God, okay, all right, we're past the sadness, there's no way this is gonna make me go full blown, take a break, gotta clear my head for a moment. We're not getting there. The music, I think, is the saddest I've ever heard it, okay? It's like, what is going on? It's like somebody died in the song. I don't know what's happening. It's just so sad. And she finally declares out to them while they're asking what's going on. She's like, someday I'll become too much of a burden. Someday you're going to betray me and cast me aside. And I'm like, okay, that's her origin. She's been betrayed. She's been cast aside. Everybody wants the bounty. But this is when Luffy stands up and he's like, I totally get who Robin's enemy is. And he tells Sniper King, because, the new member of the crew, because Usopp's not around, Sniper King, shoot down the flag, and he blasts it. By the way, I guess Sniper King's just incredible at shots, and Usopp never was, but whatever, we're gonna have to go with that. And they burn the flag down, declaring war on the world government. And he yells out to her, Robin, say you want to live. And you get to this panel where she's just got tears running down, and she tells Luffy she wants to live, and I'm like, that's it. We're crying on a plane. What a freaking baby I am, but it's cool. You know why? Because a real man can cry on a plane over an incredible manga arc. And if you think otherwise, well, I don't really care what you think. I've never really cared. I'm always me. But anyway, that got me to cry on a plane like a fool. And then it got awesomer. So I also love, during the sequence, to kind of give us some, lighten the mood, give us some brevity, Frankie just also crying and being like, I like you guys. You guys are great. And I'm just like, oh, Frankie. It's a little spoiled. I know he's going to join the crew because I know he changes up. So I know he's joining. But it was still like, oh, Frankie, you're growing on me real quick. I thought I was going to hate Frankie. I don't like his character design. I don't like the future time jump version, and I don't like this version. The way he looks with the Speedo. But Frankie's just awesome. The personality, great character. So then we go to moving through the actual fight sequence. Luffy and everyone starts moving forward. They're trying to chase down Robin. We get into what I called side quest hell, but it turned out awesome because at first I was like, I reading it, and they're like, Robin's bound by these cuffs that prevent her from using the devil fruit. In order to open the cuffs, you need this key, but not this key. All of us have a key, so you all need to fight for the keys, and then somebody also has to chase down Robin. And I'm like, so we're on a side quest. That's what we're on. But this sequence was awesome, so I'm going to break down each and every one of them. First off, Sniper King getting himself handcuffed to Zoro. Awesome and incredible, and I loved the humor behind it. And I loved, my favorite was the two guys they're fighting, the square nose guy and I forget the other one. But like them both being like, look, we'll just unlock you because like this isn't going to be fun for us to fight. And so the answer, they didn't have the right key. So Zoro and Sniper King are just running for their entire fight sequence until eventually Zoro just takes Sniper King. He's like, you're my sword. And he's just flinging him around like he's the sword. And I'm like, that's awesome. And I loved the fact that Zoro basically leveled up during that sequence. Like he just got new moves, new insanity. Like, what was it? Like 2 sword, 3 sword, 1 sword. He was just going through the different moves. Loved that sequence. That's one of my favorite parts about this. Everyone leveled up. Oda did a great job of making sure no one got forgotten. If they used gear, the gear got better. Like Sniper King having this incredible thing. It's a good thing he wasn't using that slingshot Usopp used. You know what I mean? Like that he had the much better weapon. And Nami being able to literally make like lightning storms in rooms, that was cool. I think Sanji leveled up, but I can't remember exactly how he did, if anything, because he got kind of removed early on because he got made really smooth and turned into like a doll because he couldn't hit women. So I don't know if it was a level up or just we discovered more that he can't hit women, because I'm pretty sure that it was already discovered, but it was still funny. Chopper, I found to be the most interesting out of them because he turned into a monster that didn't know who he was talking to or what's going on. And I loved the fact that even Frankie recognized him and was trying to stop him. Like, that's your friend. Stop doing this. And they all recognized him because of the hat. I got that. That was awesome. But Chopper turning into this big beast, we're really curious what that sequence was. Nami got her upgrade. Zoro got his upgrades. Sniper King got the better move. I don't remember Sanji, but I guarantee I just missed something or I just forgot something because everyone leveled up except Sanji. Wouldn't make much sense. And Frankie, we're still learning his powers, which the moment he was threatening to blow himself up, I know this happened earlier, but the moment he was threatening to blow himself up by inflating his rear end, I'm like, he's gonna fart. He's not blowing himself up. It's gonna be a fart. Does no one realize he's just gonna fart? But it worked out great. Band-Aid Headman, Spandam, I think is the actual name. But anyway, Band-Aid Headman was just continually getting more and more annoying as opposed to being like a threat or evil, which I think is what they were going for because he was always drawn as being like, ah! And then they would beat on him and he'd get like swollen around the giant Band-Aids and stuff like that. So obviously that's what they were going for. But we eventually get down, after going through everyone's level ups, we're going through everyone's abilities, everyone's learning new stuff, they're all got the keys. They finally get the keys, and we get to Robin. And Luffy in Lucci, I want to say, because it's Lucci. He's got a pigeon. They all call him Pigeon Man Lucci. But he turns into like the tiger, and that's when Luffy busts out Gear 3. Now, I already theorized the last episode we were talking about this that he was going to, because he even said, oh, I can't take you out with Gear 2, here's Gear 3. And we get to see just Luffy cutting loose with giant fist, giant hands. Now, there is one thing that I found weird about Gear 3. He says he can basically do it for about a minute or so, or he said he did it for about a minute, and then he's a child for a minute. Now, this reminded me of Demon Slayer, and I know this came out way before Demon Slayer, but how Nezuko can go full demon mode and, like, wreck everything, and then she's just a little child running around like, ah! Like, that's what it reminded me of, so I'm like, Demon Slayer took that from One Piece. I don't know if there's been anything in the middle where people go crazy and then turn into a child, but they're definitely influenced by Luffy doing this. Gear 3 was awesome. I think I like Gear 2 more though, because Gear 2 is just him being fast and powerful, while Gear 3 is him like inflating his limbs and like slamming them around and excessively. Both are amazing, and I like the fact that Gear 2 and Gear 3 function like inherently different. Because that was always my problem with like Goku and Dragon Ball, where they're always like Super Saiyan 1, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3, and you're like, okay, so your hair got longer and you're burning energy faster. Like that's the only difference. There's no reason to go to 1 without not burning energy. That's why I like the changeover in Dragon Ball, where they're now like Rose, Blue, and Ultra Instinct. Each have a distinctly different thing they can do. But the cooler part about Luffy's transformations is Gear 2 and Gear 3 are visibly different. Like, you know he's doing Gear 3 based on the giant swings and things like that. You know he's doing Gear 2 based on the steam and the speed. So the Dragon Ball situation, especially in the manga, is a lot harder to read the different changes of hair color. But with Luffy, it's a visible thing in the way he fights. So I really liked that more than the transformations in Dragon Ball. And I know I'm just referencing what these two are like. You know, where because that's the bit, everyone hears transformations, they think Sailor Moon or Dragon Ball. And Luffy definitely is not a Sailor Moon character. I'm looking at my notes because I jumped over to the Gear 3 part. We're going to come back to that. And forgive me, I have ADD and I bounce around. I did write a note about Frankie and Chopper's fight. Frankie ran out of soda and Chopper's throwing him different drinks to see what they'll do to Frankie in the middle of the fight. That was hilarious. Vegetable juice. And he's like, vegetable move. What? Why do I have why did you give me vegetable juice? And Chopper's just, the villain's in the fridge and Chopper's just opening it up for seconds to grab a drink. What'll this do? I loved that. That was funny. Everyone leveled up. Also, at this point, Luffy's fighting against Lucci. At the same time, before they unlocked Robin, she's finally fighting against them and not just being hauled off by gripping the bridge with her teeth. Loved that. That was like, you finally get to see Robin is like, no, I am on the crew and I'm going back. And I really miss Usopp. If only we could get rid of Sniper King. The entire crew is running through this bridge underground. They all get completely flooded out. And then the old lady from the train and the thing turns out to be like this mermaid, which was hilarious because I knew she had to be something. She kept tagging along and she just seemed to know what was going on. And I was like, she's something. There's no way she's just a random old lady going along for the ride. And so the crew ends up getting back. Luffy's fighting against Lucci. They get Robin back. And then everything just gets insane, okay? And this is the second moment. This one, I did not cry as much on this one. I cried on the other one. This one just I had a little tear. I had a little tear welling up over here. But we eventually beat Lucci, we get Robin, we beat Spandam, and there's nothing left. The Buster Call has one pillar left, and they're chasing down the pirates. Sanji, in the meantime, has shut the doors to Enies Lobby. So these doors are shutting, and they're trying to get the boat through it. And they jump off the broken bridge to land on the merry-go, or going merry-go. Whenever I Google it, it comes up both ways. So I'm pretty sure it's going merry, though. He jumps off, and we get on the merry-go, and the merry-go is, like, talking to them. Finally, the boat is talking. And we're sailing out. We're getting away. And as they're finally getting out of there, the merry-go falls apart. As Iceberg shows up, we'll just say Iceberg. The guy who was in charge of everything back at Water 7, I'm going to call him Iceberg. I'm pretty sure it's Ice something, so we're going to go with Iceberg. Explains that he found the merry-go, going merry, and he fixed it one last time because it asked him to. Because it wanted to go one last voyage. It wanted to save its crew. And so we finally get to see it fall apart. And Luffy is in tears, and he's giving it a Viking funeral. It's like going off, sinking into the ocean. And even Zoro, because everybody except Luffy and Chopper know that Sniper King is just Usopp. You know, everyone knows that except those two. And even Zoro's like, are you okay? Why don't you just tell him? And Sniper King's like, I'll tell him later. So we don't get that in this moment. But we do get to say goodbye to the boat. The boat, the Going Merry, is saying goodbye. It's speaking. Everyone's in awe by this. I got a little tear because like it's 430 I think I was like 428 at this point or something. I've read a lot of chapters with this boat. So it was just really sad to see it going. And that's where the story ended. Like, I looking at the way the story chapters go, I guess we go to 431, where everyone's on there, and they're not really reflecting on what happened yet, because they're finally just got away. And I guess post Enies Lobby is just the next 10 chapters. And everyone says that just small bridge right there is incredible. So I wanted to make it its own video, and I haven't read it yet. And I really, 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 really want to go read it right now. I'll admit, you guys were right. If I wasn't really into One Piece at this point, this solidified it. Everyone leveling up, everything being awesome, them all teaming up to go against the world government. Robin's story, so sad, and now I understand why they're looking for the Poneglyphs. They're trying to figure out what happened in that the Void Century. What's going on with that? I'm still questioning what the D is. I want to see the D. You know, it's just how it is. That's how it's always going to be. From what I understand, that doesn't get revealed till like way later, so I'm just going to have to sit and wait patiently. Robin is still, I loved her design, I loved her ability, and now she's just up there in the crew. In Luffy, he's solidified. I know I started the first like 200 chapters being like, Luffy just seems goofy to me. I'm not a big fan of his character design. No, screw it. Luffy's like the best thing ever, okay? He really is. I want to see where this is going to go. At this point, I would keep reading even if we weren't doing these videos. Simply put, okay? I like this a lot. And I can't wait to see where it's going to go next. So I hope you guys enjoyed the story of me blubbering like a baby on a plane. Let me know what you think down below about my opinions on this whole thing. I'm going to go read post Enies Lobby. That will also come out very, very soon. And I'm already taking in your suggestions of the next big series that we should be reading. I'm probably going to do Dragon Ball Super first because I've got one arc away from the finale to where we are now. So I'll do that first, and then we'll bridge into something else along that way. And we're also exploring doing more of those discussion kinds of things and bringing some of the cast from the rest of the shows that we do, the podcasting and stuff. So you might see more content coming over here at Mangastorian very soon. I'm being very protective of the channel right now. I really like what I've built here, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it, so I don't want to see it get too crazy like Mangastorian levels of like just insanity where I've got too many people to juggle, but we'll see what we can do. I'm having a lot of fun here, and I hope you guys are enjoying these videos, and I will see you next time right here at Mangastorian.